car.
Don't touch me. I'm not under arrest. You don't have the right to take me.
You are under arrest.
I'm under arrest for what?
2547 County FM 1098. Just
For
north
what?
of 290. Send me another unit.
Get out of the car.
Another unit, FM 1098.
Get out of the car now.
Why am I being apprehended? You trying to give me a ticket
I
for
said
your
get
failure?
out of the car.
Why am I being apprehended? You
I'm
just
giving
opened
you a
my
lawful
car
order.
door. You just
I'm
opened
going
my
to
car
drag you
door.
out of here.
So you threatening to drag me out of my own car.
Get out of the car.
And then you
I will
stop
light
me?
you up. Get out.
Wow.
Now.
Wow.
Get out of the
Really?
car.
For a failure to signal. You doing all of this for
Get
a failure?
over there.
Right, yeah. Yeah, let's take this to court. Let's do
Go
it.
ahead.
For a failure to signal. Yep, for a failure to signal.
Get off the phone.
On my school.
Get off the phone.
I'm not on the phone.
This is the case of Sandra Bland. Now, to me, this case never made any sense to me because after she was arrested, 3 days later, she was found dead in her jail cell. And her death is what really started the Black Lives Matter movement. Sandra Annette Bland was born on February 7, 1987. She was originally from Illinois, a suburb part of Chicago. She was one of 5 sisters. She attended Willowbrook High School in Villa Park. She graduated in 2005. She was a member of the Sigma Gamma Rho sorority. She graduated in 2009 with a degree in agriculture. She was recruited as a summer counselor for 3 years, played in the marching band, and volunteered for a senior citizens advocacy. In 2009, she returned to Illinois. She worked in administration for Cook Direct, a food service equipment supplies, a job she had previously left before her death. So in the early January of 2015, Bland began posting videos about many subjects.
Good morning, my beautiful kings and queens. It is Friday, April 10th, 2015. It's kind of chilly out here this morning, so hopefully you bundled up. Kings and queens, someone proposed me with the question the other day, and I'm a little stuck on it. I was asked, was I trying to racially unite or racially incite? Well, honestly, I feel that my goal is to racially unite. Now, in the process of doing that, some people will be incited, i.e. upset, because based on the history of America, it is not good when it comes to black and white people. But I want us to try and get past that. And that is ultimately impossible. It's impossible to happen until certain people realize they were born into a certain type of privilege. And it does not matter if you never break a law, or if you never get into any trouble. Part of the reason for that being is the police don't even suspect you of doing anything wrong. And that's just how it is. For those of you who did not like the video that I posted earlier this week or yesterday and decided to get on my page calling me a racist, a dumb bee, I just think quite disrespectful. You know, guys, you don't have to watch my videos. You really don't. Because at the moment, they're not for everybody. I would want them to be, but unfortunately they can't be, especially when we're talking about a subject as touchy as race relations, all of this mess that's going on in America. So for those of you who think that I'm a racist, please remove yourself from my page and just don't watch Sandy Speaks. Sandy Speaks does not promote racism. Sandy Speaks does not promote going out there and killing all white people. I don't know if those of you who feel that I'm a racist, didn't see a couple weeks ago me walking around Fox Valley Mall holding a sign that I spent my money on, took time out to make, that said, all white people are not against us. Because I don't truly feel that way. But for those of you who cannot accept and acknowledge the white privilege that you were born into, no fault of your own, but just accept it and know that, yes, black people are going to be mad when we see things like our brothers being gunned down, murdered. And for those of you who can say, oh, well, why was he running? Why was he breaking the law? Let's just flip the script. And if that was your uncle and he ran, do you think he would have got shot 8 times in the back? Probably not. They might have got him in the leg. I am not a racist. I'm going to share a little bit of something with y'all. For so long, I was so misguided and confused. I thought that the only way to have pretty kids would be to marry a white person. Yes, woo. My mind was so messed up. But I see clearer now. There are kings and queens in all of us. But at the moment, the people who truly need to be realizing their kingdom and queendom are my black brothers and sisters. I'm sorry. So for those of you who are uncomfortable, who don't want to hear a positive message aimed towards the brown, you don't have to watch it. I am not against white people. To be successful in this world, you have to know how to work with white people. But what Sandy Speaks wants to do is let my kings and queens know you can do it. We can be successful. It is up to us. I love you all dearly. I hope you have a great day. I hope you have a successful and prosperous day. Do what is necessary to establish your kingdom and queendom and just be great. Go out there and be the greatest thing that you can, and I guarantee you it will turn your life around. Sandy Speaks.
So Sandra was very vocal about the mistreatment of, black people or African American. She was very vocal, and in the video she says, in the news that we've seen as of late, you could stand there, surrender, and still be killed. And she was telling the truth, even in recent events of what's been going on. Sandra was described as a civil rights activist in Chicago and part of the Black Lives Matter movement. So Sandra had at least 10 previous traffic-related encounters with police in Illinois and Texas. She was stopped for various reasons, like driving without insurance, for speeding, and drug-related and marijuana possession. So according to court records, she had pleaded guilty for traffic-related issues, and she had to spend at least 30 days in the county jail. At the time of her death, she owed $7,579 worth in unpaid fines. At one point, her license was suspended. Brian Encina was 30 years old at the time of the incident. He had a history of performing pretextual traffic stops, having issued more than 1,600 minor tickets in less than 12 months. So on July 10, 2015, he pulled her over for failing to signal a lane change. In a series of events recorded by his dash cam, he spoke to Sandra, and the interaction between the two became heated. He told her to get out of the car. She refused. She was threatened with a drawn taser, and he says, "I will light you up." After they moved out of frame, he forced her on the ground and arrested her. In a response to the controversy over Bland's arrest and death, on July 21st, Texas Department of Public Safety released the dashcam footage of the arrest. Parts of the video appeared to be edited with images of cars and people appearing and vanishing on the road, while the audio of Encina's voice proceeded without interruption. A Texas Department of Public Safety said that the irregularities of the video were technical issues that would occur when the video was posted. They took down the video and replaced it with another version. The footage showed Encina's tone and attitude change after he asks Bland, who is irritated, and she answers affirmatively. After he returns to her car and speaks briefly to her again, he asks her to put out a cigarette. She responded, "Why do I have to put out her cigarette when she is in her own car?" He orders her to get out of the car. When she refuses, he tells her she's under arrest, and he says, "I'm giving you a lawful order." Once she is out of the car, he orders her to put down the cell phone and told her she's going to jail. While arguing, Sandra can be heard crying and screaming. Sandra on 39-second video of part of the confrontation, which had been in possession of state investigators, which surprisingly was discovered in 2019. Bland's family and their lawyer in the civil lawsuit claimed that the state had not given them this evidence. So apparently there was an eyewitness that was there when this whole ordeal was happening. The eyewitness recorded when Sandra is lying on the ground with Encina and a female officer above her. Bland said that she cannot hear and state that the officer had slammed her head into the ground. She tells him that she is epileptic. This is confirmed by police dashcam footage in which the officer responded, "Good." After she informs him of her condition, and the officer told her, the bystander and eyewitness, to leave the area. So she recorded her own version of events and was not public until 2019. According to DPS, she was arrested because she supposedly kicked the officer. She was charged with assaulting a public servant. They claim she became argumentative and uncooperative. They took her to the Waller County Jail and placed her in a cell alone. And they claim they deem her high risk of others. After being arrested, Bland told her sister that the officer had pushed his knee into her back and she feared her arm was broken. Later on, a Houston television station stated that it obtained a voice message where Bland asked the question, "How did switching lanes with no signal turn into all of this?" Sandra's bail was set at $5,000. Her family later stated that they were attempting to secure the 10%, which would be about $500.
In the video, we see Bland's arrival at the jail on July 10th and different moments from throughout her 3 days there, including Bland going into a bathroom to change out of her clothes into a jail jumpsuit.
Again, on social media, there's been some very crazy speculation that Waller County Jail, all inmate photos are taken in street clothes, and so it was unusual for her mugshot to be taken in the orange jumpsuit. That is incorrect.
You can then clearly see Bland walking around the booking desk to have her mugshot taken.
She's been sleeping in the holding cell, and this is where the infamous mugshot is taken against the wall.
Bland is photographed first facing forward, then to each side.
And again, there's been stuff put out on social media that these photographs were taken intentionally dark to hide the fact that she was deceased. As you can see, that's not the case.
As for why the video wasn't released earlier, Judge Duhan says authorities originally thought they couldn't get clips from the video and found out just last night that they could. Live in the newsroom, Mai Martinez.
So on July 28, authorities released several hours of footage showing Bland at various times, including arriving, having her mugshot taken, and making phone calls. But I find this was suspicious where authorities thought that they couldn't clip the video, and then until a day later they could clip the video. So there has been many speculation about her mugshot, and people analyze her mugshot because many speculated that she was already dead, and conspiracy theorists believe that she was killed before her unaliving herself. So a woman named Alexandria Powell, an inmate that was held adjacent to Sandra's cell, later told the media that Bland seemed sort of distraught. She was very emotional and crying frequently. According to Alexandra, she says that Bland was upset that her friend had not come to bail her out. Powell stated that she never heard any loud noise or commotion that would indicate foul play. So at 6:03 a.m. on July 13, Bland refused to eat breakfast and told a jailer, "I'm fine." Half an hour later, according to Brian Cantrell, she asked how to make a phone call. He informed her she could use the phone in her cell with a pen. However, there was no record of Bland making a phone call. Police stated that Bland was found in a semi-standing position, hanged in her cell. The next day, shortly after noon, police issued a statement that Sandra had been found dead in her cell, and it's believed that she unalived herself. An autopsy conducted and concluded that she died by asphyxiation and classified her death as unaliving. It was stated that she used a garbage bag to hang herself. They found multiple abrasions on the right side of her back, abrasions on her wrist, parallel cuts on her left arm that predated her arrest. Toxicology report a high concentration of THC for someone who had been in jail for 3 days, which speculators thinks she had access to marijuana prior to her arrest. Sandra was laid to rest on July 22 at African Methodist Church. After Sandra's funeral, family and friends called for an independent autopsy and stated that it is highly unlikely Bland would have killed herself. According to Bland's family, she was upbeat about the job she was to begin for Texas A&M University at Prairie View. So Bland had posted on Facebook where she stated that she is suffering from PTSD and depression, but had no medically diagnosed clinical depression. According to a friend who spoke to Sandra in jail, she stated that she was upbeat despite the arrest. After authorities announced her death, 31,000 people tweeted using the hashtag Sandra Bland. An online petition launched called for an investigation of Bland's death. After 3 days, 200,000 people had tweeted her name. Texas State Senator Royce West, he called Bland's death very suspicious. He believed that Sandra should have been on unaliving watch, face-to-face, and welfare check in every 15 minutes. To me, I agree. I feel like the jail was very negligent to, not check on her and see if she was okay. So on July 17, about 150 protesters gathered outside of the Hampstead jail, chanting "No justice, no peace." Protesters outside the jail where Bland died had vigils and demanded an explanation for her death. By July 29, 2015, at least 12 protests had been held for Bland around the country. Protesters also asked why Bland had been stopped and alleged racial profiling. So on August 13, about 25 heavily armed members of the new Black Panther Party rallied at the Texas jail to protest Bland's death, and they expressed their rage at police. No arrest was made. Bland's mother, Geneva Reed Veal, spoke about Bland at the 2016 Democratic National Convention. So on January 2017, at the Women's March on Washington, singer and actress Janelle Monáe included Sandra Bland in her performance, evoking the audience to say her name. On July 16, the FBI and the DPS announced that they had launched an investigation into Sandra Bland's death. The officer, Insignia, was placed on administrative leave for violating procedures for traffic stops and was terminated by DPS following his indictment on perjury charges. Glenn Smith, who runs the jail, has been fired after alleged incidents of racism and brutality.
Now, NBC5 investigates. Tomorrow, February 7th, would have been Sandra Bland's 36th birthday. 8 years ago, the Naperville woman was found dead in a Texas jail cell after a state trooper had pulled her over in a traffic stop.
Now, before she died, she had posted several videos online in which she challenged white people to understand the racial profiling she saw. And now our investigative team can prove that Sandra Bland was right. Christian Farr explains.
She was just brave to be 28, my little sister.
Shantae Needham will never forget her younger sister.
Good morning, my beautiful kings and queens.
Sandra Bland.
She was a great cook. She loved to cook for us. She loved her nieces and her nephews. She loved her sisters too, but she really focused on the younger generation.
But on July 10th, 2015, Sandra Bland's life turned into a headline.
Step out of the car.
No, you don't have the right.
Step out of the car.
You do not have the right to do that.
I do have the right. Now step out or I will remove you.
A police traffic stop on a Texas road would land her in jail. 3 days later, Bland's sister and the rest of her family would receive a call that changed their lives forever.
And I was feeling like something wasn't right. I knew something wasn't right. And then Monday we get the call that she was no longer here.
Police said Bland had been found hanging in her jail cell. Her death was ruled as suicide.
Get out!
Wow.
Now!
Wow.
Get out of the car!
For a failure to signal. You're doing all of this for
Get over there!
How Bland was treated during that failure to signal traffic stop by now former Texas State Trooper Brian Encenia was put under a microscope.
What you may see as just somebody doing their job, we see the undertones of that. We've been trained to see them because we live them every day.
Sandra Bland's own words just months before her death seemed eerily prophetic for black motorists and their sometimes tragic interactions with police. And in fact, NBC5 Investigates has found that the numbers back her words up.
Could happen to you or to someone you love. Stopped by police for no apparent reason except that you fit a racial profile secretly used by police. It's called racial profiling.
More than 20 years ago, then State Senator Barack Obama led the passage of the Illinois Traffic Stop Study, which requires all police departments in the state to track the race of every person they pull over and ticket each year.
That you're twice as likely to be stopped if you're black than if you're a white motorist.
The ACLU's Ed Yonka says that troubling statistical conclusion is happening right here in the city of Chicago, where more than 500,000 traffic stops take place each year. But it's not just in the city.
We found that before Sandra Bland died, she had been pulled over 6 times by police in the Chicago suburbs. And almost every police department at that time pulled over minority drivers at a higher rate than white drivers.
It's sad that we have to live in a world like that where the color of our skin determines how we be treated.
NBC5 Investigates analyzed these yearly traffic stop reports for the individual jurisdictions and years when Bland was stopped. 5 out of 6 times of the police department's own numbers show they were pulling over minority drivers anywhere from 30% more often all the way up to 55% more often than white people. A fact that Bland feared white people could easily ignore, even if the numbers proved her right.
So for you who can say, oh, the law doesn't see color, it doesn't see color because you ain't got no color in your skin.
According to CNN, a report from Texas Commission on Jail Standards published on July 16 found Waller jail guards violated policies by failing to do timely checks on inmates, which should be hourly. Furthermore, the jail employees had not been adequately trained to deal with mental health problems. On July 22, county officials produced intake forms that they say indicate Bland had earlier attempted unaliving. One questionnaire states that Bland took pills in 2015 after having a miscarriage. The Waller County Sheriff stated that the jail staff may face disciplinary actions for their failure of not putting Bland on unaliving watch, not personally checking on her, and leaving the plastic bag that was fashioned into a noose. In 2015, the Prairie View City Council voted to rename the street Sandra was arrested on to Sandra Bland Parkway. Sandra Bland case returned to the public attention in 2019 when a cell phone video became public for the first time. Her family's attorney said that the case needed to be reopened in light of the new evidence. Texas Senate Bill 1849, also known as the Sandra Bland Act, which mandate change to corrections and policy when dealing with those with substance abuse and mental health. It also requires de-escalation training for police officers. So in conclusion, I leave the question up in the air. Do you think Sandra Bland was murdered? In my honest opinion, I do believe that she was murdered. because there are so much things that didn't make no sense. Like for me, the evidence that was in her cell phone wasn't released until 2019. To me, that's very suspicious. And what were they hiding, or what were their intention to release this evidence way later, a couple years later? She was also very vocal about racial problems that black people face and try to give a perspective from a black person. And she was very vocal online and had an audience that, would agree or disagree with her viewpoints. The officer completely had no right to arrest her. He took things to another level. And 3 days after her arrest, she was found unaliving. It's very suspicious to me. I do believe that she was murdered. But feel free in the comment section and let me know your thoughts and opinions. But in conclusion, rest in peace to Sandra Bland. My deepest condolences to the family and friends of Sandra. This case really bothered me for a long time. There was so much inconsistencies and it didn't make any sense to me. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it all the way to the end, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe for more of these cases. And thank you for watching.